Hello and welcome to another Cliff Reviews Art House. This time I'm reviewing the 2009 film Mother, directed by Bong Joon-ho. I've had this on my watch list for a while, and after recently seeing Mickey 17 I finally caught up with it. Mother is a kind of murder investigation. The main characters are a mother and son, and the son is accused of a murder. The police charge him quickly, but the mother can't believe her son did it, so she conducts her own investigation. Although I loved Parasite, I really can't say that I'm a fan of Bong's films more generally. There were things that I liked about Mother, but overall, I was quite disappointed in it. I do think that he's a really creative filmmaker, and his films are always quirky in a kind of amusing way. Plus, I think his films are always really beautifully shot. This was all apparent in Mother. However, apart from Parasite, the films that I've seen by Bong haven't really won me over. I can't say I'm a fan of his work. We have a very different sense of humour, and I often find his characters are very shallow. I know that his films are full of references, critiques and metaphors relating to Korean culture, so perhaps my lack of full appreciation is a function of my ignorance. But I just can't accept that a film can only work if you understand the references. So, I can only report on my reaction to the film, but as always, I totally accept that I might be wrong. So let's be specific about what I didn't like. I don't really enjoy his humour at all. In Mother, it's too slapstick and silly. It just comes across as a bit too silly to be a serious film, even though I realise that he's tackling serious subjects. Bong has explicitly talked of this deliberate tonal dissonance in his films. I don't enjoy the clash that exists between his serious themes, his interesting narrative arcs, with the slapstick, satirical comedy. If he wants to unsettle me, it definitely works, but I can't say that I enjoy the experience or find it meaningful. Second, I don't know if it was supposed to be gripping as a thriller, but I found that the reveals all just came a little bit too easily. And third, the characters are just skin deep. There's no backstory. The humour and the quirkiness seem to have priority over depth. I do find it style over substance. I never had any emotional engagement with the characters. I think he leans too heavily into this kind of tonal experimentation at the expense of emotional depth. On the subject of characters, I have questions about the character of the son, Do-jun. The portrayal of his intellectual disability left me feeling slightly uncomfortable. He's a 27-year-old with limited cognitive abilities, and he relies on his mother. He's highly vulnerable to exploitation. There didn't seem to be any real point to this, or if there was, it totally went over my head. And given that no point was apparent, I do wonder if it was even somewhat offensive in its portrayal of this vulnerable young man. Was he there merely to provide the humour, and that his naivety was exploited in the twists and turns of the plot? His childishness means that his mother bathes him, dresses him, even follows him round as his guardian. In a sense, he is infantilized. So the concern here is that Bong uses Do-jun less as a person and more as a device. And I was left feeling a bit uncomfortable about this. He's reduced to a kind of object, vulnerable, naive, in the service of the narrative. But I think it risks being exploitative because the film needs him to be helpless for the twist to function. Yet it doesn't seem to offer a deeper commentary on that helplessness. And when that helplessness is also used for humour, I do fear that it brushes up against offensiveness, however unintentional. If there is a deeper commentary here on how society treats the intellectual disabled, or on structural failures in justice systems, or on suffocating maternal love, I didn't feel that any of these themes had traction for me. Bong typically does weave such critiques into his work, for example, class in Parasite, capitalism in Okja, but in Mother, the ethical framing of Do-jun's condition feels more ambiguous and possibly even exploitative. There were things that I did like about Mother. The cinematography is great. It's always good to look at. Although I didn't feel that the evolution of the story was a very gripping thriller, At times it definitely looked like a thriller, definitely evoking something of Hitchcock for me in a really good way. The idea behind the story is strong. The police believe that it's a clear-cut case. However, the mother starts to uncover evidence that questions her son's innocence. I won't say any more, but I like where this story went and the twists and turns in it. In the same way that I said about Mickey 17, Mother definitely isn't the worst film. I think I just have to accept that Bong's style is just not for me. It appears Parasite is the exception for me rather than being the rule. Given that his style clashes with me so much, I'm actually wondering what I would think if I was to go back and watch Parasite again. It's a while since I've seen it. There are other films of his that are highly regarded that I still haven't seen, so I will stay open to his work. Mother is a well-made film which looks good, and it's never boring, so I can really appreciate that others might find it to their taste much more than me. For me, it was shallow with silly humour, but a stylish watch nevertheless. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.